guys, welcome back to my channel. Second video time. Here we go. Today's topic is rating the 2023 Formula One liveries. This is what the car actually looks like. So there's 10 teams that will run mainly one livery for the whole season, but then there are special liveries that have to be approved, and so it has to go by them and it gets approved, and then they can use those cars throughout the season. I will be giving a rating out of 10 for all of the liveries that had been used in the 2023 season. I may have missed some. Leniency here is what I need. With that, let's get into rating the 2023 F1 liveries. There is no particular order either to this. So, first team, Red Bull. This is their main livery for the season. It's exactly the same car pretty much as the 2022 livery, but I will say it's pretty sleek. The colors all work. There's not a whole lot different. I like the dark, and I like how the yellow and the red works with that dark bluey navy purple color. I don't know what that is, but it is a clean car. It looks nice. It looks better than quite a few of these other liveries. So I will give it a 7.5 out of 10, which does make me sad because I really wish Red Bull had a sucky car. So that's something of theirs could be bad, but it is what it is. Next up is Aston Martin. Again, this is pretty much an exact replica of the 2022 car. I think this one is a little more tealy than green, and I feel like it's more shiny, and I also feel like the yellow strip on the car, that little like thin line, I feel like it's more yellow than last year. But in all honesty, I like this one more than the Red Bull car 100%. I like the green a lot. It pops on track really well, and it just is sleek and clean. Guess how many times I'm going to say sleek and clean? I'll keep a counter. But yeah, like it looks good. It flows nice. It pops on track. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for the Aston Martin. Next is Mercedes. Now, the Mercedes car might be my favorite livery from the season. I remember when it came out and being like, ooh, this is so good. And being very excited about this car, even though it's black. So it didn't pop a whole lot on track, other than in the picture I have, this would be Lewis Hamilton's car, and he has a very bright yellow helmet, and he uses yellow in a lot of his marketing stuff. So he had the yellow numbers, which that popped, and then George Russell had blue numbers, and they did pop a little bit, but the yellow definitely was vibrant. So I loved this car when it came out. I thought that this would be my favorite car of the season. Alert. It is my favorite livery of the season, even though they're not my team. But with that said, I really like the black and then the silver / gray and teal-y blue strip at the bottom. I like that they kept those two colors with them. It was kind of a shock because they had gone silver for so long. So it was nice to see black. I do really, really like the black. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. It's my favorite car of the season. Good job, Mercedes. Now we have Ferrari. This car, I believe, came out before Mercedes came out with theirs. And so I remember having a very strong reaction to the Ferrari car as well. Because this, again, it's a sleek, clean car. The red is just so iconic. I was a huge fan of. I will say the black strip on the side pod with the Seva, I'm not the biggest fan of. I know some people felt like that little strip there was a weird spot to have black, and I don't disagree. But you can't deny that this is a very, very clean car. It's still a sexy car. That red, it's so good. So I will give this, don't like it as much as the Mercedes, but I think I like it a little bit more than the Aston, simply because Ferrari did something different from the 2022 car. So I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, 8.5 for Ferrari. Next up is my team, and that is McLaren. Now, they have papaya. Not orange, everybody, it's papaya. And McLaren will make sure you know that too. I liked this car. A lot of people hated the blue. I don't mind the blue. I do like the car without the blue. Needless to say, the papaya looks great and it pops on track. I do think that this car could use more papaya, which I think they have changed in their new car for the 2024 season that they dropped out of the blue with no announcement. For this one, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because I still really like it. And I probably like it about the same as the Aston car, but not quite as much as I like the Ferrari car. I think I liked some of their special edition liveries a little bit more. But yeah, this one gets an 8. This next team is my underdog team. Williams is my team because I really like Alex Albon and I liked their car. I liked the blue. They used the blue really well. I like the different shades of blue, especially on the back with like the geometric shapes at the back. And they did something great with sponsors, which I forgot to talk about on the McLaren car. But they have Duracell as a sponsor, so having it up at the top with the battery, that is some perfect placement, truly. I may as well go back and talk about McLaren for a sec. McLaren obviously had chrome up on the top, and their wheel covers were like the chrome 4 colors. I love the wheel covers. I know a bunch of people hated them, but I think it's a really creative use of getting the sponsor on there, which is basically what these cars are for. Like the look of them is purely so that sponsors will get their stuff seen. And so creative uses of sponsor placements on both the Williams and the McLaren, but back to Williams. I like the blue. I like that little mini red strip. I think it's a very clean car, and I'm gonna give it a 7.5, which is the same as the Red Bull. I gave it the same as the Red Bull because they also had a very very similar car to 2022, if I remember correctly. So 7.5. Next up is arguably the worst main livery of the 2023 season, and that's Alpine. This car is not good at all. Nobody liked this car. It's truly sad. It looks so blocky and chunky and clunky. And the blue at the top with that nice, it's not nice. It's a very clear straight split to the pink of the BWT on the side pod. It's not good. Nothing flows nicely. It's just like bop, 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 and I don't like it. Nobody liked this car. I don't know. It just wasn't good. They had a different car that everyone's like they should have ran that for the whole season, which I definitely agree with. It's a much nicer car. I don't think I like the way that they set up their car with that straight slab of black on top of the side pods that splits up like the seat and the halo and the nose from the side pod, and that just looks very harsh. 4 out of 10. It's not a nice car. Not a nice car. Let's do something better. Okay? Next is the team, formerly known as Alfa Romeo. And they've got a boring car last year. They kind of did the same thing as Ferrari, where they went with the red and the black, except this is worse. It just doesn't look as nice. It doesn't look as clean. It doesn't help that it was a sucky car to begin with. Like, the looks of cars can definitely change if the car is actually a good car. I stand by that. This was not a good looking car, really. It's just a very mid car for a team that didn't pull results really at all. I'll give it a 6 because I don't hate it as nearly as much as I hate that Alpine car, but still not a nice looking car. Next is another terrible one, and that is the team formerly known as AlphaTauri. This was not a good car. They got the Orlen title sponsorship that Alfa Romeo had the year prior, and Orlen is known for their red. Now, AlphaTauri was not a red team. They were that dark navy and white. Those were their colors. And this is a big downgrade from the 2022 car, which I remember a lot of people thinking it was a really nice car, and I think I agree with them. It's been a while since I looked at a 2022 AlphaTauri car, I'm not gonna lie. But regardless, they tried with the red. I'll give them credit, but The red on the halo looks weird. The random like strips of the red Orland just they don't flow nice. Don't like it. And the Alpha Tauri is too big at the back. No, I don't like it. But I like it a little bit more than Alpine. So 5 out of 10. We'll see what they bring for this next season. Last of the 10 teams regular liveries, we have Haas. I think they were the first team to release their livery last year. They're obviously not this year with McLaren. It's not that good. I don't like it. Feels almost clunkier than the Alpine does, which is saying a lot. But it just, the white on the top and then the black on the side pods and then the red. I don't know. It just is not that nice a car. Again, if it was a good performing car, maybe I would hate it less than I do. But it's boring to look at. It's not super easy to catch on track unless you can spot the red really. I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10 because I think I like it about the same as I liked the Alpha. Let's do something different. Do something different. Try again. Now we get into the special liveries, and the first one we have is the Red Bull Stars and Stripes livery that they ran at the Austin Grand Prix. So I think this was a contest, I think, for fans to design a livery, and then Red Bull would pick one for this specific GP. And I like this one. You'll notice that a lot of, pretty much all of the Red Bull liveries will just add a little bit. They won't really take anything away from the main car, which some teams do. They'll take something off and put something else in its place. But Red Bull will just kind of add designs. I like this a lot. It's not your traditional like stars and stripe flag that you would probably see on that you will see on some cars. And I think that the stars and stripes actually flows really nicely with the car. And the red, white, and blue actually work with the main colors of the Red Bull, so that's also helpful when you're doing a special livery. So I'll give this a 7 because I do think it's not as clean as their normal livery, but it definitely is still a very solid special livery to run. Now we have the Alpine that a lot of people think that they should have ran for the entire season, and it is their pink Alpine. They ran this for the first 3 races of the season, I believe. And you can't lie and say this isn't better because this is a huge improvement from that blue nonsense. The flow of the pink really works together, even though they still have that choppy cut in the middle. At least it's not as enormously noticeable than it was like blue, black, pink, because now it's just pink, black, pink. So there's that. Pink gets noticed because no one else uses pink. And BWT, whoever gets sponsored by BWT will always have pink on their car because BWT will not let their cars go without having some pink in there. So why not just keep it? Like, I understand the blue was the Alpine blue, but nobody cares because it didn't work. So this definitely is a lot better. It's still, I didn't love it as much as a lot of people did. I like the car, don't get me wrong, but I didn't love it. So I'll give it like, it's clean. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. They should have ran that for the whole season for sure. The next couple will be from Las Vegas Grand Prix because it was the first year at Vegas and it's Vegas, so everything is a little bit extravagant and extra. And the first one we have here is Red Bull. I like this one more than their Austin one. I think I liked the lightning and really embracing the purple. I will say at the beginning of the halo where that rocket logo is, that clearly is the original Red Bull color and it doesn't blend as nicely out to the lightning of the rest of the purple. But I like the neon lights effects that they have on there and the cards, and then even the wheel covers have got spades on them, and that's really cool. So I do like this car. It's very sleek, it's clean, it's a fun car to look at, but because it's Red Bull, I'm going to give it a little bit less and probably should. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, I stand by that. 7.5. for Red Bull Vegas. Now we have Ferrari's car they ran for Vegas, and it's very, very, very similar to just their normal car. They just replaced some of the black with white, and I do like it. I think that it does look good and it looks clean. I like the black better, I think. So again, I don't hate it. I think it does look good and it's still the classic red, and white is pretty common in Ferrari in some of its older liveries, so it's nice to bring that kind of back and give it a more older vintage vibe maybe. So I'll give it a 7 because I don't like it nearly as much as I like the regular livery, but I do still like it. 7 out of 10. Now we have another not great one, and that is Williams's Vegas livery. This was lazy if I've ever seen anything, and just not creative. They just stuck a Las Vegas sign in Williams and lights. Like, it doesn't look good. It does not flow nice. It just looks like two separate cars. Like, it splits. That Vegas sign, you just have this back end of the car looking very different from what the front end looks like. It's not good, and I don't want to look at it anymore. Do I hate it as much as that beginning Alpine? Honestly, no. At least the front end is still like the normal car, so I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Not a good livery to say the least, but I'll give it a 5. Alpine went even lazier with its Vegas special livery because it's just their regular car and had some like camo underneath. Like, it's not good. It is a teensy bit better. So it's a 5. But again, it's a not good car, and all you thought to do was some camo underneath and thought, yep, this is going to elevate. Everyone is going to love this livery now. No. It went 1 up. You need a big change. This is not it. Now we have the McLaren Vegas, and in all honesty, this looks a lot like the car they ran for Singapore and Japan. They just kind of called it a Jack Daniels and called it a day. So they took out the blue, which I don't hate. I do like the papaya on black, and because it looks clean. It doesn't need that like highlight almost because it kind of speaks for itself. But for Vegas, you could have done a little bit more, I think, and just leaned into it, the culture around Vegas a little bit more. Needless to say, it is a very clean, very nice looking car, so I will still give it a 7 out of 10. McLaren again, except this time for Abu Dhabi. Now, this is the final race of the season, and they did a good job with it. I do, because I'm someone that doesn't hate the blue, I do like how they extended the blue from more than a strip into a good half of the side pod. But then you have the kind of dots underneath all of that, and you expanded the views a little bit and made it fun and blue, and so that really actually pops. I like it. And I probably like it as much as I like the regular car, just because it's pretty similar with a few changes. So I will give it an 8. Yeah, an 8 for McLaren Abu Dhabi. Next we have Alfa Romeo's Vegas car. I'll give them creativity points because they went pretty out there, I will say. Because it's not even the Alfa Romeo red that they were using the whole season. Because this is more of a maroony, burgundy, brown red. But I don't hate it. I like that it's made up of cards. It's still kind of boring. Because when that thing is driving, you're not going to be noticing the cards. You're going to be just thinking that it's like a plain old one color kind of deal. I don't even remember it being run on track. It might have, and I'm totally blocking it out. But again, they probably didn't even show it on TV because they're out doing their own thing and don't cause any problems. So I'll give it a 6.5, I think, because it is creative, and I'll give them creativity points. Now we have the Haas car that they ran at the Austin GP. So Haas is an American team, so all of the American races are technically home races for them, but Austin is the biggest one, so they'll go a little bit more all out. And so they just threw on an American flag on the side pod and called it a day, but I don't hate it. I like it a lot more than just a plain old black side pod. And it does flow, like the flag is going to flow nicely in that kind of section of the car. And with the color scheme for the Haas this year, it works. Like it's hard to go wrong with that. It's pretty clean, it's pretty sleek. Like it has a little bit of clunkiness, but don't mind the fire truck that you can maybe hear in the distance. But I will give this a 7 out of 10 because it's definitely a good car. But yeah, 7. Now I mentioned this car earlier because it looks pretty similar to the Vegas McLaren car, but this is their Japan and Singapore special livery, and I think it just became known as the stealth car, if I remember correctly, because they took out a ton of papaya and replaced it with black. Like that entire side pod is normally papaya, and it's just black. But then they decided, well, if the side pod's gonna be black, then the OKX will be in papaya, so that can pop out, which is nice. I do like that. I think this is a really nice car. I think a lot of the shaping of the papaya on the nose and then up onto the halo looks very similar to their car for the 2024 season. And even the number kind of looks like what they're doing for the next season. But I really like this car. I think that it is the cleanest of the McLaren bunch. But again, McLaren's pretty solid at just giving good liveries. So I'll give this an 8. I'll give McLaren another 8. Monza is an Italian race. And who's an Italian team? Alfa Romeo. So for their home race, they brought out a special livery. And I like this one a lot more than their regular livery. I like that there's an Italian flag on the back. I think that really looks good back there. And then even there's green outlining the nose, and that looks really cool on an otherwise pretty like plain car. But I do like this a lot more than their normal car. It looks cleaner and it's something a little bit different for them. They don't usually go this much green when they're doing a home race livery. I feel like normally they just add a little bit of green, and this was a lot of green for them. And I like the green. It's a good touch. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I think it's the best car that they had all year. So this last season, Ferrari won 24 Hours of Le Mans, which, as the name states, it is a 24-hour race where you have, I think it's 3 drivers, maybe 4. No, I think it's 3, that will split in shifts along the 24 hours, and they just race. And so this year Ferrari won it. And as a celebration of this, plus being in Monza and Ferrari being clearly Italian, they decided to bring a Le Mans celebration car. And really, it's just their regular car and add some yellow in there up at the top, and then the numbers replace yellow. And then I think there's a bit of yellow on the nose as well. So it's pretty much exactly the Ferrari car. Just add some yellow, and I like the yellow, but I think I like the regular Ferrari a little bit more. So I'll go an 8 out of 10 for this one. Another McLaren livery, because they were just pumping these out. So this one is a chrome livery. Most teams that have a title sponsor or have a sponsor that is just bringing in a lot of money to the team will get a special livery at some point, with some exceptions. So this is the chrome livery from McLaren, and I really like this car. They took out the blue and replaced it with chrome and actually extended the chrome a lot. And this is a fun little thing to do. Like the chrome is all along that wing and on the outside of the end plates, and even under the velo on the side pod where normally it's just a strip of blue and black. They did all of that chrome and all the way up. So I really like it. I think this is maybe my favorite of the McLaren bunch. And did I say that about Japan and Singapore? Yes, I think I did. But I think I like this one more. I'm going to give this one an 8.5. I really like this. It's just kind of nice to see a color that definitely has been used in some effect like Mercedes with their silver, but this is just, you don't see papaya with chrome very often. And they're embracing the chrome this year. They've got chrome numbers on the cars. I think it's fun. Yeah, 8.5. another special title sponsor livery, and that is the Williams Golf livery. So Golf was actually the title sponsor of McLaren for a long time, and they switched over to Williams this last season. And in all honesty, this could have been at one point a McLaren livery. Just had the orange and the blue swapped, and it would have been. So this looks really good. I like the light blue, but then keeping that geometric stuff on the end of the car, and then having those bits of orange in there. I really like that too. I think it just pops a little bit. Keep the Duracell battery, because of course, but I think it might look better in these specs than they did on TV or in person. I don't remember when they ran this. So I'll give it a 7.5 because I do like it, and it's a big jump from their regular livery car. Next, we have a McLaren livery. They have achieved a triple crown. And what a triple crown is that you won the Indianapolis 500, the 24 Hours Le Mans, and the Monaco Grand Prix. So for Monaco this last season, they ran this triple crown livery. I like it for sure. I think that a lot of more people liked it more than I did. But to be fair, like, it is a very clean car. I like the slicing of the orange and the white and then the black at the front, which you can't really see in this picture, but there is black at the front on the nose. I think it does bring back some memories to old McLaren, kind of. This has been coming up a lot because of their new car. Definitely takes some inspiration from this Triple Crown livery. So that kind of talk has been going around. But I do like the car. I think it looks cool. It just is a little harsh, I think. Like the very abrupt switches. This doesn't mean it's not a good car. I give it a 7. I give it a 7. Now we are back to Red Bull with their Miami livery. And you'll notice it looks very similar to the Stars and Stripes because, as I said, they generally keep the car and add a little bit extra. So you just had the Miami colors of the track with the just those bright neon colors that a lot of teams won't use. It looks really good. I think all the colors work together, which is surprising because these colors are very different to the red and the yellow of the Red Bull. But I think it is all pretty clean, and I give it a 7.5. Yeah, 7.5 out of 10. Now this car, I don't think ran. Just I burned it from memory. That's the only explanation for this. And this is the Alfa Romeo like neon thing with kick. It doesn't look good because it's just their normal car, and then they threw on a bunch of kicks and they were in neon green, and then changed the wheel covers to green. It all looks bad. It doesn't look good. This actually makes the car worse, and it's already not a good car. As I mentioned a while ago, this is not a pretty car. It just looks weird with those green kicks everywhere. 5 out of 10. Not much more to say. Back to Vegas, because I didn't catch them all at the beginning. This is the AlphaTauri Vegas car. I hate this car. I hate this car as much as that blue and pink Alpine. You can't tell me that the back of this does not look like a zebra. Tell me this doesn't look like a zebra. It does. I get what they were going for. They were going for the neon lights of Vegas. It just doesn't. In this picture, especially, it doesn't read that. It reads zebra. And it doesn't flow. Don't like it. 4 out of 10. I'm done. I don't want to look at it anymore. This is Williams' Austin car. It's fine. Don't get me wrong. It's not good, to say the least. Again, they just decided to add something to the back of the car and call it a day, just like their Vegas one. Like a 5. I don't like it. I don't think it flows as nice. I don't know. I like it more than the Vegas, sure, so maybe like a 5.5, I guess. But that back end looks so clunky back there because they just threw some paint on it and called it a day. So I'm going to call it a 5.5 and move on. Last livery is Williams' 800th Grand Prix livery. Congrats on 800. It's been a while since you won one, but congrats on 800. And I really like this livery. I think that it looks really good for a British team. I like how they put the Union Jack on the back, even though I just ripped into them about how they did the American flag at the back. But somehow I feel like this Union Jack just fits more into the geometric shaping of the blue that they had on their normal car, which this just is thrown a Union Jack on the back and called it a day. But I think it just flows a little bit more because it's a lot of straight lines. It's the Union Jack is not like this fluttering flag in the background like the Austin American flag one was. It's a straight bunch of lines and it looks good. It looks a lot cleaner, I think. And then I like the white on the sides of the rear wing because I think normally they're black. So that's a fun little addition to it. Yeah, I like this 800th livery 100%. I think it looks really good. I'll give it an 8 actually. I think I like it that much. Yeah, 8 out of 10 for the 800th Grand Prix Williams. And that is it. That's all the liveries I could find for 2023. There might have been some that I missed, but I didn't want to go back and watch every single race and figure out who was running a special livery that race and then try and find pictures. So I just did a little bit of like, what were the special liveries this year and called it a day. So there might be some that I missed, but these were the ones I could find and definitely the ones that I remembered seeing throughout the season. With the new season starting so soon and car launches starting like in 2 weeks, maybe I will compare what I gave their last year or last season rating, and then I'll rate the new ones and compare and see if I like their new car better or not. And that will include Stake and Visa RV. Even though they had different team names last year, I will still compare them and see which I like more. That is it for this video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications, but I'll tell you what, it won't be on that often for the first little bit, just simply as I'm a student, so it's a little hard to come with a schedule right now. But still subscribe if you want to. Comment down below your thoughts on the liveries, and if you're excited for the launches, if you're excited for the new season. I'm ready to get back into watching racing. It's been a long winter break. Like the video if you did, like it if you didn't. Why not? Try something new. That's it. I'll see you all next time in Kira's Corner.